Your dream isn't a vision, it's a fantasy.
What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Grind.
BTG.
If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. And please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of our future content. Our podcast is for those who want to go beyond the grind. My name is Kay.
I'm Alan.
I'm Tosin. And this year, what I've promised myself to do is to be a little bit more blunt when people come and talk to me.
I don't know about that.
Right.
Can you
So
be
you
blunt?
being like me.
I don't know. All right? But here's what I mean. All right. I get all these people that come to me. I think I've said this many times on different episodes and whatever, that, hey, I want to be a business owner. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do that. And now I just got to tell them, your dream, it isn't a vision. It's fantasy. All right. Because to be an entrepreneur, right? Or even to be an ambitious employee, like some of the folks that we have watching us, you know, that are not yet entrepreneur, there's a lot of discipline that goes into it.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of strategy. There's a lot of sacrifice that goes into what you're doing so that you are successful. However, we've got these folks out here just thinking that, hey, you know what? I'm just going to wake up. I'm going to have 10 million clients, and all of a sudden I'm going to be rolling in money and all this and all that. I'm like, boy, that's a fantasy. So I want us to talk to people and kind of differentiate what is a dream versus what is a fantasy. All right. So I'm going to throw that on the table for you guys. Alan.
You want to start? Or you want me to start? Let Kay already has some.
There's research out there that says that talking about your goals can make you feel like you're making progress.
Oh,
There is. I read that.
When the reality,
fantasy. That's what
even though if there's no work is being done, right, it can make you feel like there's progress. But the reality is, I look at dreams like faith. You know, the Bible says that faith without seed is what? Faith without work is what?
Dead. Yes.
And that's how I look at it. So people dream all the time about what they want to do and about how they want to do it. You know, you dream about, you know, you even get to a point where you're posting.
Yeah.
You get to a point where you're talking about it.
Yeah.
You get to a point where you're strategizing. But the reality is, unless you actually physically do the work on a daily basis, consistently, it's not going to materialize. And that's just how I look at it.
I think to piggyback on that is that, yes, I agree. You should have these dreams and think about it, post them. Those are all motivational things. You know, those are all like, if we're in a game and I'm the coach and I give a great speech and everyone's all pumped up, then they get on the court and they do whatever they want. It's just cute, right? You got to actually go in there because you guys didn't practice. So I just gave y'all a good speech and it sounds good for a movie. It sounds good for a movie, but y'all didn't come to practice all week or last week. So you didn't prepare, you know? So you need the preparation to go along with the motivation. So I feel like if I had to pick one or two, I will pick consistency and discipline over motivation, because motivation is just what gets you started, but it doesn't keep it going. So you need to keep it going. The consistency is the legs behind the motivation that keeps everything going.
I was telling a client of mine, and this was actually last year, came to me, wanted to start a business, a startup. I'm like, what are you looking for? Just general advisory, just to make sure that he's doing everything he's supposed to do. We had our strategy call in terms of the things that he should be considering. And I specifically told him on that call, I said, look, dreams without actions are fantasies. I said, actions is what makes your dream a reality.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago in, I've obviously given him action points of things that he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Now I'm the one following up. What's going on? Have you done this? Have you done it? You know,
You got busy.
I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about that, and I just knew that this person
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Some of that has to do with like where they are in the progression of their entrepreneurship, you know, as far as like some people come out the gate, they just already have that in them, right? Either through life experiences as a child or just that's how they are.
But
other people, it takes them a long, like 50. Before I'm talking about 50 years old before
for this
they have
specific situation,
what you want.
It was procrastination.
It is.
Because the dream was so big that he didn't know how to just bring it down to earth and just do one small thing one day at a time.
My goodness,
it's hard.
You
it's
touched
hard.
on the next thing.
I was just about to
reading
say,
your
like, that was the next thought.
Because the dream for many people is bigger than their ability to act.
Boom.
Well, what if I told you that there's a saying that if your dream doesn't scare you, then
You
it's
dream
not big
too
enough.
small. Yeah.
No, I agree. However, your dream can scare you to not act like this guy.
procrastinate.
Well,
Like this guy.
but the thing
because
is-
once you sit down with it, you're like, wait,
You need so
am I
many pieces.
really going to disrupt? Am I really gonna? What is the metas of the world and
Yes.
the Googles of the world
and
going
maybe,
to do?
Maybe I should do this. And I should do that.
Doubt.
Like
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like this big dream can scare you into inaction.
I think the biggest issue for me is time management for dreams, right? So to me, the issue is that where do I find the great pieces that I need? Like I physically cannot do everything myself. So like we talked about, you know, in a different conversation is the HR component, because some of those things can be delegated. The issue is finding the people that are good enough for you to delegate it to, and that's been the thing that's always been an impediment for me. But it didn't stop me from acting. I'm just like, yeah, we're gonna figure
Now,
it out.
confession time. So we've been doing this podcast now for, I think we started February or March of
I think
2025.
February.
Right. Now, I remember the first conversation that I had with you. I said that I was thinking about starting my own YouTube channel. And I made a list of all the things that I needed to buy
Yep.
on YouTube. And I shared it with you guys. And then I told myself that I was going to wait till Amazon had a sale going on. Amazon had the sale. I bought everything. Everything came in. I just kept documenting all the things I wanted to do. I'm like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that.
You
I'm
just
going to
do it.
like promote it. I'm going to get like 1,000 subscribers within a month. We're now about to hit what?
Almost February.
Almost February, and I still haven't got
You ever
started yet.
recorded one episode?
And I have not recorded one episode.
Oh.
And the reason
I thought
why
you recorded one, bro.
is because of procrastination,
That's hard.
and number two, because of the need to be perfect,
Perfect.
rather than just good enough.
Point number 3.
Because the reality is, I'm looking at everybody. I'm saying, you know what? I like what he's doing.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
what she's doing.
Yeah.
I like what they're doing. I'm going to take a piece of what everybody's doing. And then and I remember I got to a point where I actually recorded one video,
You
and I was
deleted
like, hey, I gave it to a buddy of mine. I'm like, what do you think about this video?
shredded it.
You know, you should fix this. You should fix
The
that.
head was leaning sideways.
The lighting wasn't good. You should. And then I was like, yeah. You know what? Let me just go buy one of those black T-shirts so I can be consistent. I can just wear black tee every time. I went to Target, bought a black T-shirt for me to record another episode. Didn't happen. Somebody else said, you know what? You need to change your background. And I just realized that every time
Somebody
the
got something
dream
to say.
kept getting bigger because of the need
to be perfect.
to be perfect.
To
And
be
we've talked
perfect.
about it before.
Just push it
Like
out.
perfection only delays what you're meant to do. And it will never ever materialize until you can just say, you know what? Is this good enough for me to be able to launch? And I think we've talked about that in the past.
It might even kill what you're trying to do.
I was going to ask him a question.
Oh, go ahead.
Do you think if you had outsourced someone to help you edit it, you would have been moving along faster?
Oh, 100%.
So-
But I don't think that was the reason. I think the reason was so you're
Because then
having,
they could have coached you quicker rather than giving you. It's different giving advice. Oh, you should do this versus, hey, I'm gonna do this.
no, it's more.
You know what I mean?
It's more about competing priorities. And on one end, I have a dream of this huge thing that I want to build. On another end, you got reality. I got to make some money. So when you have competing, that's just reality. When you have competing priorities, you know, you're like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But then you like, oh man, I got to pay my mortgage.
Bills,
you know, so
there's only so much time you have.
Exactly.
To
okay. So
different
again, time. That's
time,
what I said. Is
and that's not an excuse.
That's not an excuse, but it's an obstacle
exactly
that you have to overcome.
Exactly. Now I know you wanted to say something.
Yeah. So I have this. Someone came to me about a couple weeks ago. CPA, they wanted to start their own practice. So they booked a consulting time with me and they said, Tosin, tell me everything it's going to take to be here.
Oh, man. You ain't got no money, I ain't got no time.
It wasn't even about money. I said, I couldn't even tell you everything.
Yeah,
because one, I probably still don't know everything. I'm learning things daily as we go.
Yes.
Right? So there's not... on this call, you're not going to get everything. You're going to get step
highlights.
1.
Right.
No. I told him you're going to get step 1 and possibly 2. That's it. That's all. You know, because part of those steps is get your first client.
Yes.
All right, why are we talking about, you know, you need to rent out space.
First client.
You don't even have clients.
You don't need that. You're right.
That's true.
You can do all that remotely. You don't even need that.
You don't need to learn everything just because you want to do something and you ain't got no clients. So he's like, oh, yeah.
I think you just need to know what it is that's the obstacle. Bills. Bills is the obstacle. Okay, how do I overcome that? Stay at home and get my clients first.
So are you saying, Tosin, that while it is okay to dream, but you need to be doing both at the same time? Like, yeah, be dreaming, but be recruiting getting clients at the same time while you're dreaming.
Yeah.
Like, well, what's the point of? I guess what are you trying to get our audience to understand?
What I'm trying to get them to understand that there's no actually you put it best, right? In that you have to have actions behind your dreams, right? You can't just dream, sit back and think it's all going to come to you. It's
a waste of time.
Right? You've got to dream and act at the same time. Now, I don't think you should ever stop dreaming, actually, right? Because, hey, if your dream ain't big enough, it's probably... you said if your dream doesn't scare you, it's not big enough.
It's not big enough.
It's always going to shift. You're going to see yourself, you're going to achieve goal 1, step 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you're going to keep dreaming about that next goal and that next point and so on, right? So what I'm trying to get them to understand is that it's not the dream that's the problem. It's your inactivity that makes it a fantasy. So don't be wasting nobody's time with a fantasy, please. All right. We can, there could be some coaches that you're working with giving you great inspiration, great speeches, and you go out there and you don't do anything with it. Right. You're wasting people's time.
So how do you overcome, because this procrastination? Like, what do we need to mentally rewire ourselves to remove the thought of perfection and just start? Start and then fine tune it as you go along.
I think it's
keep putting out trash content.
Well, no, not even.
At least record it, right?
At least
record it. You might not publish it, but at least record it, my friend.
It's the schedule he sets.
Right.
It's the reps he takes.
Yes.
That was what's gonna get him
right.
It's the practice that he puts in. Even though a practice is a finished product for him, right? It's still going to improve him because he's consistent.
Right.
Because he's going through it.
That's what I was getting at.
Maybe there's going to be that person, if he outsources one thing or the other, that's going to help him say, hey, you know what? You can tweak this in the next episode, the next episode. So each episode incrementally gets better towards that perfection, because we know you don't ever get to perfection.
Of course. I was even going to mention the importance of having an accountability buddy or partner, because trust me,
that's hard.
I purposely didn't get that
because you didn't want it.
Because you didn't want it.
Because then it's real. Because
think about
people
it.
make it real. Yeah,
we all know what we need to do.
It's like going to the gym, right?
We know what we need to do.
Yeah.
And for me, like I am a slave to my words, meaning that once I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. But the one thing that I dislike more than anything else is for me to tell somebody I'm going to do something,
right.
and then they come to you and they come to me and say, "You said you was going to do A, B, and C, and you didn't do it." It's going to make me feel like trash, right? So I purposely didn't, you know.
And sometimes your partner, your spouse, can be that accountability.
Oh yeah,
not always, but
Not
sometimes.
always, but let me use Kay's example.
They may be
You told
keeping
your
tabs.
wife to keep you accountable.
would've been on
Every
there.
time
Oh
she
my
walks
God.
into the room, seeing all the equipment,
All that money you wasted,
you just
we
wasted.
could have got on a trip.
Wasted money, right?
We could have got on a trip.
My wife does that with our Peloton. Yes, I'm hanging clothes on the Peloton. It's a hanger now, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
I got a question for you guys, right? And it's in relation to this. Do you guys believe in motivational speakers? And the reason why I'm asking you guys is because it relates back to dreams versus reality, right? Because I've been in so many scenarios, so many situations where you get a motivational speaker to come in, they motivate you. You can do it. You have what it takes. Everybody's clapping, yeah. And then you go home. And you don't make it. You don't do
No,
anything.
I think that's what we just talked about. So motivational speakers are good to jumpstart you to start.
They're preaching dreams,
But then,
though.
no. I feel like, well, to each his own, but I do feel like they are very good, but they're not a one-off thing. So if you one person who does motivational or listens to motivational speakers, then you listen to it like weekly at least, because that's how you get the motivation to start. And you may listen every day because usually they're long, right? So you may listen a little bit per week, then you don't. You try to implement it each day.
And that works for you?
I've done it. It worked. But the thing is, it's motivational. So it's motivating your day, right? It's not so let me back it up. So I'm implementing the consistency strategy by listening to the motivational speech consistently and trying
why
to
do I need to be motivated if I'm already in the dream?
Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
But so then now I'm like hyped up. Let's say in the morning, oh yeah, he said this, that I'm gonna implement in my team. That's my goal for today. Tomorrow, listening to it again. Remember that same goal I was hyped up on. Does that make sense? So it's helping me motivate my day, but you still have to have the consistency aspect of it for it to make sense. But if you're doing it as a one-off, it's only going to last like a day or two, and that's it.
Well, what you just mentioned is not what I'm thinking
That's
about
not what I'm
for
thinking about.
motivational speaking. Because you're talking about you're listening to things that you're learning, like, oh, this is some structure I need to implement.
That's what I'm trying to say. If
So-
you do the motivational, if you bring them into the office,
Wait,
right?
hold on.
Or go to a
That's why I wanted
speech.
him to define
Yeah.
what
Oh,
he
okay,
means by
okay.
motivational speak. Because
So-
what you're
Go to
talking
a
about
conference
is like
and all
one of
that
those
stuff. That doesn't
self-help
work.
type of motivational
The motivation that I'm talking about, I'm not talking about the practical aspect. I'm talking about the upliftment motivational speaking, where they're talking about how you're sitting on your butt, you need to get up, whatever you need to do, you need to just go do
Right,
it.
but that's
You
only
have the
short.
tools.
I guess
I hope so.
You can't. That might help you get started. It doesn't help keep it going. That's either way. Whether you're uplifted at the most, you'll be motivated for that day. Let's push it to a week, even. But that's it.
I even look at it as I don't need somebody to motivate me on something that's my dream. I already have the dream.
But you don't know how.
No, it's not that. I just keep procrastinating because I have not implemented the action that is needed for me to be able to bring this dream to a reality.
Well, they work, or they wouldn't be making money.
Well, I mean, some people do need that motivation.
to feel good.
Yeah, they need it in that moment or whatever they do, right? But the type of motivational speakers I like are kind of like the ones Alan was talking
the
about.
practical ones.
Right? You're practical. There's a lot of self-help, you know, type of entrepreneur mindset type of motivational speakers, because I'm going in there to take notes. I'm coming in here to learn some things that I can go back and implement.
Yeah, I
now,
use
do
both.
I do it all?
No.
But at least
You have like a list of 10 stuff, and I'm like, if I just got one today, I
Well, you
won.
know, if I get one done, right?
It's a good day. You got to take your wins.
That's it. Those are the types of motivation and a lot of books that we read, right? About, you know, trying to be a better thinker, a better entrepreneur, a better leader, a better XYZ, right? So those are type of motivational type of things that we do. I think those are great.
So it sounds like if if assuming that I was in a position where, you know, procrastination was not the issue, the issue was knowing how to get started, then it's helpful for me to get such to use such tools, you know, the practical motivational speakers or books to kind of help me get started, because now I can follow step by step in terms of what to do.
I think both have their places. Like I said, sometimes I don't feel like doing anything. And I'll just be like, man, I just don't. You get in funks where you're like, man, I don't want to do any of this. Like, and so sometimes I'll be like, man, at least I could just trick myself and say that I tried and play this on, and it'll be like, you know, the type of motivational speaker you talked about in the beginning, like a speech at a big stadium, and I'll be like, dang, I need to get my lazy butt up. That dude did this. It is just a jump start. But I still gotta, you know, that motivation might carry me through, like, you know, from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Right.
But at least it got me at least moving. So now I'm like, okay, I got the motivation to do something. Let me at least read the other motivational stuff to get my organization.
Now, check this out. Is it possible that some people that dream, that's just what it is? It's just a dream, even though they say that they want to take actions, but deep down they really don't want to take action.
They want to fail.
That's why I'm calling them.
They want to fail.
You know what? They need to hand off those dreams to some people that are ready to work.
Look.
All right.
I was gonna say, remember when I said, like, we inherently stay at our certain position because we know mentally that we don't want it.
We're not ready.
We don't want it. We just tell ourselves we want it because this is what we think we should have. But our body is telling us we don't want it because of our inaction.
My dad always say that you can't want something more for somebody than they want it for themselves.
Correct.
Right? So if you're coaching somebody or you're telling somebody what to do, unless they've made that decision that, hey, you know what, today's the day that I'm going to make a change and I'm actually going to take action.
Right.
You can motivate them from now till Jesus comes. It's not going to make any difference.
I mean, I guess my whole thing is, like, if you want it, you're where you're at and you've not fallen below that, because like, you know how you're like, oh, let me record this. I haven't done anything. But if I said, like, use that same energy because you got bills going, you're gonna get up in the middle of the night and record everything. You're gonna have that's what I'm trying to say.
The key is that I haven't tapped into something to really get me off my feet.
It has to be something that you like, no, there's no way I will not get up and do this because these are the consequences and I want this.
Okay, let's be practical here before we round up, right? Because obviously we have the ambitious employees, but we also have the business owners, especially the ones that they're trying to transition from being an employee to a business owner. I'm not the only one that's out there that's probably procrastinating, right? So what do we need to do to make sure that we get past that?
Well, real quick, you can't be a lazy employee thinking that you're going to be a successful entrepreneur.
No.
That's just my last word. Alan?
I think that you got to really understand, do you really want it or do you just want to say you want it?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you're head first. You can't be lazy. If you really, really want it, then you just got to take the action. Like I said earlier, dreams are fantasies, actions mix reality. Until next time, peace.
To make strategic decisions and take calculated risks. We'll also talk about future-proofing your business so you can build a lasting legacy and true freedom. This isn't a one-sided conversation. We're all on this journey together to build a life and a business that works.